I had are just disappearing before my eyes.
It all started with a simple real estate listing, just another house for sale on Zillow. But what people found behind those doors, that was anything but simple. Because this wasn't just any home. It belonged to Kody and Robyn Brown once. The golden couple of an unconventional dream, a plural family built on faith.
It's more of my dream slipping away. It's more of what I hoped for slipping away. I just don't know how to let it go.
Unity, and the belief that love could be shared. For over a decade, we were welcomed into that dream. We saw the laughter, the heartbreak, the chaos, and the hope. We saw a family that defied the norm, and then slowly, quietly, began to fall apart. But no one expected the story of that fall to be told through decor, not in words, not on camera, but in velvet drapes, in clashing crystal geodes, in a haunting painting of two horses embracing under moonlight. Yes, seriously, two horses hugging by moonlight. When their Flagstaff home hit the market in August 2024, fans couldn't look away. Screenshots flooded Reddit. At first, people laughed. The wild mix of decor was easy to mock. But then something deeper started to take shape. This wasn't just questionable taste. This was a house that felt confused, overdone, overwhelmed. Just like, perhaps, the relationship at its center. People weren't just asking why the purple princess bedroom, or what's up with the red Bible quotes scribbled on the bathroom mirror. They were asking, what really happened here? Was this quirky design? Or were we seeing a reflection of a relationship and a once shared dream unraveling? Remember how it all began? One man, four wives, one vision, bound together by faith. Today, that man sits beside just one woman, the others gone. Some in silence, some in sorrow, some in fury. What's left behind is more than a house. It's a symbol of love tested, of ideals clashing with reality, of a dream stretched too thin. And now when Kody and Robyn are asked if they'd ever return to plural marriage, there's no confident yes. Just hesitation, wounds, and weary eyes. Robyn's voice trembles. Kody looks tired. There's love, sure, but also the weight of what it costs to hold on to that love. This isn't just a story about a TV family. It's about what happens when faith meets friction, when you outgrow the life you built, when rooms once full of laughter now echo with silence. And maybe, just maybe, we see ourselves in that, in the pain of letting go, in the quiet hope of rebuilding, in knowing that love doesn't have to be perfect to be real. So, what really went on behind those lavender drapes and stone sinks? What secrets did the house try to tell us? Let's take a closer look. Hi friends, welcome to the channel. If you're into deep dives like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Now, let's talk about what's been driving fans wild. Kody and Robyn Brown's unforgettable interior. Design choices. When their Flagstaff house hit the market, viewers got an unexpected glimpse behind the curtain. Literally, there was that horse painting. There was the infamous purple princess suite, draped in velvet, lavender, and furniture that looks straight out of a medieval fantasy film. Taste is subjective, sure, but even the most forgiving design fans were left blinking. Then there was the bathroom and that mirror. Bible verses and inspirational quotes written in red marker, next to a stone sink that looked like it belonged in a Flintstones episode. Fans didn't just see bad decorating. They saw clues to tension, to confusion, to something spiritual that might have gotten lost along the way. So the question remains, was this a house or a confession in disguise? Let's dig in. They also seem to harbor a real love for Massive geodes and enormous crystal displays scattered in every corner of the house, which only deepened the sense of chaotic visual overload. It wasn't just eclectic in the charming sense, but truly looked like someone tried to stuff every idea they'd ever had into a single space, without pausing to see if any of it actually worked together. But beyond the questionable aesthetic choices, the real jaw-dropper? The price. As revealed by some relentless Reddit investigators, the value of just the artwork in Kody and Robyn's former Flagstaff house was estimated at around $150,000, and that figure didn't even include the countless small sculptures, decorative knickknacks, and odd wall hangings liberally sprinkled throughout the place. Sure, personal taste is personal, but dropping that much cash on what was essentially a haphazard, clashing design scheme was hard to justify, especially considering the context of the wider family struggles at the time. When they first made the big move to Flagstaff, Mary was trying desperately to keep her bed and breakfast afloat, and Kody flatly refused to help fund it. Janelle ended up living in an RV at one point just to have a place of her own. Christine, meanwhile, was forced to take legal action against Kody for child support in September 2024. While all that was happening, Kody and Robyn were busy filling their home with lavish, mismatched, and incredibly pricey decor, making many fans wonder out loud, was this some sneaky way for Kody to hide or stash money away from his ex-wives? Given how random and disorganized it all appeared, that theory didn't sound so far-fetched. There was no shortage of high-priced art, cluttering up the walls and rooms so full of conflicting styles, they practically buzzed with chaos. And just when you thought things couldn't get stranger, they did. Because even as photos of the house went viral, another controversy was brewing. Robyn recently admitted she was still open to the idea of plural marriage, if that is, Kody wanted it. That single statement turned heads everywhere, especially now, with Kody himself making ambiguous public remarks about whether he'd consider marrying another woman in the future. It's a lot for anyone to digest, and yet this is only scratching the surface. When Sister Wives first aired, the Browns had a bold, some might even say revolutionary, vision to show the world what polygamy really looked like from the inside. They wanted to normalize it, challenge stereotypes, maybe even make it mainstream. It was a daring, even admirable idea at the time. Kody began the show with 3 wives, and then spiritually married Robyn, officially bringing his count to 4. But fast forward to the present, only Robyn remains. The others are gone, some in anger, some in grief, some in quiet surrender. Many fans squarely blame Kody for that collapse. They point to his questionable decisions, his emotional distance, and what some see as blatant favoritism. It's no surprise that the big question among the fan base remains, will Kody ever truly consider taking another wife? That question came up again during the season 19 tell-all hosted by Suki Krishnan. She didn't beat around the bush. She asked them both directly, would Kody marry again? Would Robyn be okay with him bringing in another wife? Robyn's answer shocked quite a few people. She said she'd accept another woman in their family if Kody genuinely wanted it, showing a willingness that both confused and intrigued viewers. Kody, for his part, was more candid than usual. In his one-on-one with Suki, he spoke openly about how deeply he loves Robyn, describing it as a divine, elevated love, something he claims he never felt with his other wives. He insisted he had nothing to feel guilty about, maintaining he hadn't done anything wrong. Fans weren't buying it. Many argue Kody was either blind to his own role in the family's collapse or simply didn't care. Still, he insisted he and Robyn were both profoundly hurt by the demise of their once large, plural family. When Suki pressed harder, asking if he would ever actually marry again, Kody's answer was unequivocal, no. He said he wouldn't attempt polygamy again after failing once, declaring that lifestyle over for good, not just for him, but for Robyn too. In Kody's view, it wasn't him who ended plural marriage. It was the other wives who took that away from him. When Robyn was asked the same tough question, she hesitated. She admitted the idea of Kody marrying someone else would be extremely difficult for her emotionally. She left the tiniest crack in the door open, saying she might be able to accept it if Kody made her a sincere promise. But she also clearly expressed her fear and anxiety about the possibility. Her own past hurts were plain to see. She even joked, with a half-nervous laugh, that the only way she'd really be okay with plural marriage again was if God himself told her it was the right thing to do. So for now, the couple who once championed polygamy seems firmly settled in monogamy. Meanwhile, there's been no shortage of online chatter about their old Flagstaff home. When they listed it in the summer of 2024, they probably hoped to lure in serious buyers. Instead, they attracted a different kind of attention, the obsessive gaze of reality TV fans and internet detectives. The property itself was undeniably large, even impressive. But it wasn't the size or the price that got people talking. It was the decor. Photos of the chaotic, wildly mismatched interiors went viral in record time. Social media was flooded with reactions ranging from incredulous laughter to biting critiques. Online forums buzzed with screenshots, dissection threads, and plenty of snarky jokes about everything from the bizarre color schemes to the cryptic spiritual slogans scrawled on bathroom mirrors. All in all, their attempt to sell the house ended up revealing far more about their private world than they likely ever intended. Not long after Kody and Robyn's house hit the market, sharp-eyed viewers were already combing through the online listing. It didn't take long before screenshots began circulating across fan forums and social media. And what they discovered soon ignited a wildfire of discussion. Let's just say the decorating choices were nothing short of bold. The most talked about item? A colossal painting mounted prominently in the living room. It depicted two horses nuzzling under a glowing moonlit sky, an image so striking, so romantic, that fans immediately drew comparisons to Kody and Robyn's relationship. It was vivid, theatrical, and, for many, just a bit too on the nose. Some found it sweet, others cringeworthy. But one thing's for sure, it got people talking. And it wasn't just the horse painting. The entire interior design of the home felt like an experiment gone off the rails. Rather than creating a harmonious atmosphere, each room seemed to be telling its own disconnected story. The styles didn't complement each other, they competed. Conflicting patterns, mismatched textures, jarring color palettes, walking through the house, even virtually, felt like stepping into a decor identity crisis. The result wasn't charm. It was chaos. Every room told a different tale, and none of them made much sense together. But no room sparked more curiosity or mockery than the master bedroom, which fans online quickly nicknamed the Royal Purple Chamber. Why? Because the space was covered in layer after layer of purples. From lilac sheets to lavender pillows. Heavy velvet plum-colored curtains dimmed the light and cast the whole room in a dark, moody glow. The furniture? Straight out of a medieval fantasy film, ornate, bulky, and strangely theatrical. It didn't feel like a real bedroom, more like a movie set trying a little too hard. But the most confusing space by far? The bathroom. Rather than offering peace and simplicity, it looked more like a chaotic shrine. Scrawled across the mirror in bright red marker were handwritten Bible verses and affirmations, giving the space a spiritual, yet oddly frantic energy. And then there was the sink, jagged and rough-hewn. It looked like something pulled straight from a Flintstones episode. It only added to the bizarre aesthetic. The bathroom doubled as a sort of crystal gallery too. Geodes and glowing stones crowded the countertops and shelves. Far from a spa-like oasis, the room felt like a cluttered New Age exhibit, shimmering, but scattered. Longtime Sister Wives fans were stunned by the extravagance. And as always, the internet got to work. One fan posted an estimate on a forum claiming the artwork in the house alone cost over 6 figures. These weren't thrift store finds or yard sale gems. These were custom pieces, obviously expensive, clearly intentional, and that's what stung the most. Because many members of the broader Brown family were struggling at the time. When the family first relocated to Flagstaff, one of Kody's former wives was living in a small trailer. Another was trying to run an inn solo without help, staff, or even funding. While some were budgeting down to the last dollar, Kody and Robyn were filling their home with opulent, some say tacky, luxury, and fans noticed. The contrast between their lavish, mismatched interiors and the bare-bones lifestyles of the rest of the family did not sit well with viewers. Then came the legal documents. In one of the more publicized revelations, Christine had to file for child support in court, adding fuel to the already growing public outrage. As more details came out, the criticism became louder and sharper. People were already confused by the wild decor. But once it became clear that some members of the family were struggling for basic financial support, while others were spending freely on expensive crystals and surreal artwork, the reaction shifted. It stopped being amusing. It started to feel disturbing. Online conversations exploded. Some fans even suggested that the strange layout of the artwork, its cluttered, seemingly random placement, could be hiding something more deliberate. Was it possible Kody and Robyn were using this eccentric decor to mask the home's total value? Were they trying to obscure assets, maybe even from legal eyes? What started as bad taste, some claimed, might have been strategic. Suddenly, the house wasn't just weird, it was symbolic. To many, it represented the deeper fractures within the Brown family. A household once built on faith and unity now seemed steeped in excess, detachment, and denial. The statues, the mismatched themes, the overly dramatic touches, they weren't just decor anymore. They were metaphors for everything that had gone wrong. This wasn't just a house tour. It was an unintentional confession, and what began as a simple real estate listing. It ended up peeling back the curtain on something much more revealing. It was more than just a clash of design choices. It laid bare the stark contrast between excess and abandonment, prosperity and deep emotional isolation. Every decorating decision seemed to whisper a hidden story, not just about taste, but about trying desperately to fill emotional voids with objects. Layers upon layers of ornate, expensive ornamentation almost felt like armor against loneliness. For over a decade, Sister Wives drew us into the private, sometimes painfully honest world of one man and his multiple wives, a family built on the spiritual foundation of plural marriage. At first, it felt daring, unconventional, even refreshing. A rare peek inside a lifestyle so often misunderstood. But as the years went by, that bold vision started to crack. What began as an effort to normalize and honor plural relationships slowly unraveled in front of millions. Egos clashed. Bonds fractured. Loyalties shifted. And now at the center of the wreckage stand just two, Kody and Robyn, the last remaining couple from what was once a sprawling family. In a recent reunion-style special filmed with unflinching candor, they sat side by side and laid it all bare, where they are now, where they might go next. And hanging over it all was the question everyone was dying to hear answered. Would Kody ever even consider reopening the door to polygamy? Would he rebuild the plural family he once so proudly led? Their responses set off another wave of debate and speculation online. Kody, once the confident patriarch who managed multiple households, now spoke in a voice heavy with exhaustion and finality. Gone was the swagger. In its place was the quiet resignation of a man who's seen too much. When asked directly if he could ever imagine expanding the family again, new wives, new beginnings, his answer was clear and unflinching. Absolutely not. But it wasn't just a practical no. It was an emotional one. He admitted he was spent, that the experience of caring for a plural household had left him with scars that would never fully heal. What had once been a spiritual calling had, in his eyes, become a tale of failure, personal, emotional, even moral. He admitted he no longer believes polygamy is possible for him. Where he once thought he could maintain spiritual balance and equal love among several wives, he now says that dream was stolen from him by circumstance, by conflict, and by the people involved. Kody explained that when his former wives left, they didn't just walk out the door, they took with them the meaning and purpose that made polygamy sustainable to him. Beside him, Robyn sat quietly, listening. Her face spoke volumes even before she opened her mouth. When asked the same question, would she ever go back to plural marriage? Her answer was layered, reflective, even heartbreaking. She didn't say an outright no, but she didn't say yes either. Instead, she talked about discomfort, about fear, about sadness. Her voice carried the unmistakable fatigue of someone whose heart had been battered. She confessed that the collapse of the family dream, the dream she once believed in wholeheartedly, left her feeling deeply shaken. Even imagining trying to rebuild that kind of family, she said, would take a level of faith and certainty she no longer possesses. Robyn said if she were ever to consider it, it would only be as she received an absolute, undeniable sign from God himself. In a half-joking moment, she said she wouldn't even think about it unless a higher power spoke directly to her. But even as she tried to lighten the mood, you could hear the fear behind the words. Her laughter couldn't cover up the rawness of old wounds. Their answers told a story of how far things have come and how far they've fallen. Because there was a time not so long ago when both Kody and Robyn spoke passionately about the beauty of plural marriage. Their home was held up as a symbol of faith, unity, and spiritual commitment. Now, they sit in a quieter, emptier space, surrounded by the ghosts of promises that were never fully kept. It's not just that the situation has changed, it's that they have changed. Kody described his relationship with Robyn now in near sacred terms, calling it deeper and more sublime than anything he'd ever experienced before. To outsiders, it may have sounded like a declaration of love. But to those who had once shared his life as equal partners, Mary, Janelle, Christine, it felt like a slap in the face. For these women who had given years, even decades, believing in shared love and spiritual duty, hearing Kody place his bond with Robyn above all else was nothing less than reopening old wounds. It felt to many like he was rewriting the past, elevating his current marriage by diminishing everything that came before it. Instead of acknowledging the real pain that had built up over the years, he seemed to be defining the worth of his previous relationships through the lens of his present one. And to some, that wasn't just insensitive. It was the final, undeniable sign of how far he had drifted from the values he once claimed to hold dear. Critics argue that this latest version of their story sidesteps the real emotional fallout their former wives endured. Instead of truly acknowledging the hurt that came from favoritism and selective attention, Kody's words feel like they skim over the pain as if that entire chapter doesn't even matter anymore. Intentional or not, the message came through, loud and clear. For Kody, Robyn is the one, the only one. Their love, he claims, is deeper, more meaningful, more spiritual than anything he's ever experienced before. Robyn, though, didn't return those grand, poetic declarations. Her approach was far more measured, even cautious. She supported Kody in spirit, but kept her own perspective grounded in hard-won reality. She made it clear she had serious reservations about ever inviting another wife into their lives. Not because she didn't love Kody, but because she knows just how fragile their bond has become. At this point, it's not simply about love anymore. It's about emotional survival. Robyn didn't speak only as Kody's wife. She spoke as someone who watched the dream of a shared plural family implode before her very eyes. She was painfully honest about why she wouldn't dare open that door again. Not out of jealousy, but fear. Fear of reliving that heartbreak. Fear of watching something she once believed in disintegrate all over again. The conflict, the wounds, the emotional scars that split their once shared household haven't vanished. They're just buried beneath the surface. And even as Robyn spoke carefully about trust and seeking spiritual clarity, you could hear that soft, unmistakable vulnerability in her voice. She might have seemed composed, but there were subtle tremors, little cracks that showed the healing isn't complete. Some fans saw that and appreciated her loyalty, the way she remains by Kody's side, even while grappling with so many private doubts. But others heard something else in her tone, an ongoing struggle. To them, her insistence on waiting for God's guidance instead of making a clear personal choice felt like a way to delay confronting hard truths. A method of avoiding the emotional price she knows would come with even thinking about rebuilding the kind of plural family they once had. That hesitation is understandable, especially when you take in the broader picture. Once upon a time, Kody and Robyn sat at the center of what felt like a movement. They were the poster couple for an alternative way of life built on mutual respect, spiritual conviction, and the idea that love could be divided fairly among many hearts. Even when cracks showed, they presented a united front. They tried to hold the family together, but that chapter is closed. What's left now is a quieter, simpler reality. A single marriage, one bedroom, one connection, no plans to expand. No shared homes, no illusions about why it failed. Because ultimately, that vision of a big, peaceful, plural family simply couldn't survive the emotional toll it demanded. Keeping one relationship afloat while the others slowly sank drove wedges between them all. And it wasn't just the ex-wives who paid the price. It wore down Kody too. He admits he doesn't even have the heart to try again. As for Robyn, her guarded willingness to consider the possibility of another wife feels less like genuine hope, and more like a leftover reflex, a habit from years of saying the right thing. There was no excitement in her answer. No real spark of possibility. If anything, her words were draped in sadness and fear. Whatever slim chance there might have been of reestablishing a plural household seems all but gone. With this latest chapter, there's no more ambiguity. We all know where they stand. The spiritual dream of plural marriage is over. After years of trying to divide love among many hearts, all that remains is a couple sifting through emotional wreckage, hoping they can at least find some peace in monogamy. Their story, in many ways, is a cautionary tale, a reminder of how complex love becomes when stretched too thin, and how even the sincerest intentions can buckle under the weight of reality. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates like this every day.